Hi, and welcome to LDV Spots, your source for all spot-related news. But you're probably wondering, what is the deal with Zoom Spots? We all know Zoom does a lot more than meetings now. They have Zoom Chat, Zoom Phone, a bunch of other things. They just announced Zoom Email, Zoom Calendar. But I get the most questions lately about Zoom Spots. What is Zoom Spots? And that makes sense because, well, you all know what a phone is, you all know what a calendar is. This is something new and different. And a lot of people are a little thrown by it. I get it because my team has been doing a homebrew do-it-yourself version of Spots for quite a while now, a few years now. And we use it as a productivity tool, but the homebrew version has some limitations. So I'm really excited to see Zoom turn this into a real product. Now it isn't available yet, so we don't really know everything about it. But based on what I've learned from briefings with Zoom, I'll be able to share with you basically how it works, what it is. The virtual workplace. This is how Zoom intends it to be used. I think we're going to find a lot of uses for this once it gets out in the wild, but this is what Zoom intends it to be used for. Next generation presence. Presence is kind of an industry insider term. I'll explain this when I get to it, but it's just another way to understand what problem it solves, another way to understand what Spots really will do for us. Productivity. I'm going to explain what my team has been doing with our homebrew Spots so you can use it as a productivity tool for yourselves. And finally, some concerns. There are some people who are a little worried about some bad things happening with Spots, and that's kind of fun to talk about, so we'll save that to the end. So let's start with how it works. Basically, it's a Zoom meeting reimagined. By that, I mean it relies on basic Zoom meeting technology, Zoom video and audio in and out, and that's a good thing. Over the last few years, the world has basically said they're pretty happy with the quality of Zoom video and audio. But since we're not using it for meetings, since we're using it for a virtual workplace, which we'll get to in a minute, it looks a lot different than Zoom meetings. There's a lot less buttons, all the meeting-specific features are gone, and what you see instead are these small little thumbnails, and these aren't images, these are live video feeds. And the way it works is everyone is muted, and you see your teammates working, and if you need someone, you can unmute and talk to them. So it's a new and different thing. Now, a lot of people have an immediate negative reaction and say, hey, I don't want my boss looking at me all day. So let's take a minute and talk about what this really is. And what it is it's a virtual workplace. Now, before I started Let's Do Video, I had a real job, or I had several real jobs, and I worked at an office. And I worked in environments where I'd be in a room with other people. I worked in a cubicle situation, and I had an office at one point. I would usually have the door open. And in all those situations, the boss could walk by, anyone could walk by, and peek in on me at any time. I was available. And how did we get around it? How did you get any work done if you're just sitting there and anyone could walk up and say something to you at any time? If at any minute the boss could look over your shoulder. We had office etiquette. We had ways. Some people, if some people are wearing headphones, they're writing, don't bother them. Some people, if they have their office door shut, don't bother them. Or if they have a sign up, I'm doing code, don't bother me, right? We had office etiquette. So that's what Spots is. It's the virtual equivalent of a workplace. It's solving that problem for remote work. We kind of like going to the office just for the fact of we like our coworkers. We like checking in on them. We like walking past their office and saying, hey, how's it going on that project? It's harder to do that when you're remote. You don't have the face-to-face. This is a way of achieving that virtually. And as far as those privacy concerns, I'm sure we'll come up with the virtual equivalent of our office etiquette. Hopefully Zoom will design something in Zoom Spots to give us the equivalent of shutting our office door or putting up a do not disturb, or a way to let people know, hey, we're available to chat. And that leads into our next topic. There's actually two ways to look at Spots. You can look at it as the virtual version of what we had at the office, or we could look at it as taking the way we work in hybrid today and improving it. Now, in hybrid today, the way we work is based on presence. Now, what I mean by presence are those little icons next to our name in chat. We spend all day in chat, hopefully working uninterrupted, sending each other messages when we need to. And we know if our team's available to jump onto video, to escalate to do real work, if they have a little green circle next to their name. And if it's a little gray circle, they're offline. If it's a little red circle, they're in a meeting. Now, obviously, that doesn't have the human element of seeing your coworkers in their cubicles or in their offices. It's missing something. So how would we improve that? Well, what if we change those green circles into our live video faces? So everyone's muted. We could see each other as we work on our individual projects. We could look up and see our team and feel connected. I think this is a big upgrade from those green presence circles. As a remote team worker, I think seeing your teammates' faces makes you feel more like you're working as part of a team. And if you just see the green circles, you feel like an individual task worker just working on individual tasks. So speaking of tasks and work, let's go on to our next topic, which is how my team uses this for productivity. Well, how we use it, it's not out yet, but how we've been using our own version of it for productivity. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I did another video about it. I'll put the link below. But basically, for years now, I've had a remote team, and we want to feel more connected. We don't want to just work over email and chat. And we don't want to be meeting all day. I think people get enough of me after a while. But we wanted a way to feel connected and get more work done. So we would get on Zoom meetings, and we would minimize it. We would make each other small and put ourselves in the corner of the screen. And then we'd mute and we would work. We would use something called the Pomodoro productivity technique. Again, watch the video in the link for a full description. But basically, we set a timer for 25 minutes, mute ourselves, work, and then after 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Breaking it up into chunks like that and knowing you have that break makes it easier to start big projects, at least for me. When we do the Pomodoros in our own spots, we find we get so much work done. And as remote team members, it's nice to see each other without being in a meeting and disturbing each other's work. So for my friends on the Zoom development team, if you could put a Pomodoro timer inside Zoom spots so we could start our Pomodoros right inside there, that would be really great. And I guess we'll have to wait and see until Zoom Spots is out to see if the world gets it and if people will use it as a virtual workplace, next generation presence, or a productivity powerhouse tool like I've been using it. I know my team will use it. It'll allow us to do what we've already been doing in a kind of clunky way with Zoom meetings. It'll allow us to do it much better. So our final topic, and this is going to be fun, is concerns. Are bad things going to happen inside Spots? Yes. Yes, they are. Bad things are going to happen inside Spots. Bad things happen inside Zoom meetings. Bad things happen in the office. People are cringy and embarrassing. We all have stories. Anyone who's ever worked at an office, there is the overheard conversation in the snack room, in the break room, the boss being in when everyone thought the boss was out and overhearing things that they shouldn't have heard. We've heard it all. And we've heard it all in Zoom meetings. About 10 years ago, this is a true story. Before I founded Let's Do Video, I was in a Zoom meeting and a colleague of mine messages me that the meeting was turning into a total stuff show. Except she didn't say stuff and she didn't message it to just me. She put it in the Zoom chat and everyone in the meeting saw it. I still cringe when I think about the look on everyone's faces. But that's not Zoom meetings' fault. It's not the fault of the software. She wasn't careful. She made a mistake. And I mean, I hate to go there, but the more extreme example, Google Jeffrey Toobin CNN Zoom. Okay? That happened. That happened. And no one said it was Zoom's fault. No one said, we can't have this software causes this problems. It was Jeffrey's fault. Jeffrey was really, really dumb. So is it going to happen in Zoom Spots? Yes. Is that a reason for us to not do Zoom Spots? No. People need to be careful. Now, I'm sure Zoom will put controls in place to make it really, really obvious when you're not muted and make it really, really difficult to accidentally be unmuted and say something that you shouldn't say. But people are still going to do it. People are really, really innovative and creative at finding ways to embarrass themselves on any medium. It's just the way people are. So I hope this was helpful and answered some questions. Looking forward to seeing you in all of your spots in the future. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like me to answer about Zoom Spots. And thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.